tell us a little bit about the universal profile, because to me, that's what makes the agent. That's what makes the agent powerful. That's almost the secret sauce here.
Right. No, 100%. And that's one of the interesting things for me coming to Selligent. And by way of background, I've spent my entire career in the contact center industry in a variety of roles. I've run operations, I've run architecture, I've run a systems integration business. So I know the contact center world. And I stepped into Selligent, which has historically been focused on marketing. And a couple of things occurred to me. One is there's a whole wealth of tools and capabilities that marketers have and use today that are like seeing fire for the first time to contact center and CX leaders, and that's where we eventually got to this message of helping organizations manage the individual, not the interaction. Right. What we realized is that in the contact center, when we look at the different CCaaS platforms that are out there today, as an example, they all do a really good job at managing interactions. Right. They're great at getting you, Frank, from point A to point B across the channel of your choice. Um, Many of them do a pretty good job of cataloging that interaction history, right? When are all the times we've spoken to
Yeah.
Frank and on what channel and for what reason? But the place they start to fall apart is every other interaction that you have with that organization, with that brand, right? What were you doing on the web? What are the outbound messages they've sent you? Maybe what have you actually, well, maybe not today, but what have you gone into a store to physically purchase, and what type of interaction have you had in person? So the starting point of our platform, as you mentioned, is what we call our universal profile. So we've got a really easy to use tool set. It took me a couple of hours to figure it out, and I haven't actually touched a system or done any real work in about 10 years now. Took me a few hours to figure it out, but we can effectively bring in data from any system out there, right? Could be, as I said, the CRM system, could be purchase history out of e-commerce or point of sale, could be contact center interaction, sort of you name it. If it involves a customer touch point, we can bring that into our system. We can link all of that together and create this universal profile. And in the marketing world, it would kind of be called a CDP. But we're aiming to make these tools available and easy to use for the contact center, because historically, right, if marketing has this information, my experience, and I'd venture yours is the same, is that most contact centers don't have access to that data because it's owned by a different silo or a different piece of the organization. So we want to make this tool set that's really easy to use available to the contact center for their use. And as long as the contact center stakeholders can get read-only access to the right types of data that sit across silos in the company, that can all be pulled together and create this 360-degree view of who Kevin is or who Frank is across their life cycle with the organization.
And